All right, so are you ready to dive deep into NLP? That's neuro-linguistic programming to unlock the secrets of building rapport. We've got some fascinating audio clips here, particularly around how these techniques work in the dating scene.
Yeah, those sources are quite interesting. NLP delves into how our words, thoughts, and actions are all intertwined. It's like a hidden language we use to connect.
Exactly, and we're going to decode that language.
Yeah.
I used to think rapport was all about finding common ground, those dreaded death questions like busy day or like the weather lately.
Ah, yes, the classic conversation killers. What's fascinating here is that rapport isn't about shared interests, it's about creating a connection.
Okay, so how do we actually create that connection? The audio clips mention something called matching and mirroring.
That's right. And the surprising part, it's less about what you say and more about how you move and sound. Like subtly mirroring someone's body language and tonality can create an instant feeling of, rapport.
Hold on. Mirroring. Isn't that a bit, well, creepy? Like, if someone leans back, am I supposed to mimic them exactly?
Not quite. It's all about being subtle and respectful. We're not talking about overt mimicry, but rather subtle adjustments to your posture, gestures, even your breathing rate. It's like two dancers unconsciously synchronizing their movements.
One of the sources had this amazing anecdote about observing two people in deep rapport at a cafe. Their bodies were mirroring each other without them even realizing it. It's like their subconscious minds were in sync.
That's exactly what's so powerful about this technique. When done well, it taps into a deeper level of connection that goes beyond conscious awareness. You know what? Studies have shown that subtly mirroring someone's body language can actually increase their trust in you by up to 20%.
Wow, 20%. Okay, I'm starting to see the potential here.
Yeah.
But it's not just body language, right? You mentioned tonality too.
Absolutely. It's amazing how much our voices can influence how we perceive each other. By subtly matching someone's pace, volume, and even their intonation, you can create an immediate sense of rapport.
So if I'm talking to someone with a southern drawl, should I try to sound like I'm from Alabama? That seems like it could go horribly wrong.
Huh. That's where the nuance comes in. It's not about mimicking accents, but rather adjusting your rhythm and intonation to harmonize with theirs. It's about finding that sweet spot where your communication styles blend together naturally.
Okay, this is all starting to click. So we've got the nonverbal cues, down body language and tonality. What about the actual words we use?
Here where it gets really interesting. One of the sources highlighted a powerful insight. The person who asks the questions controls the conversation.
Ooh, I like that. So it's not just about what we say, but also about how we guide the interaction. But wait, wouldn't asking too many questions make me sound like an interrogator?
That's a great point. It's about finding the right balance between asking thoughtful questions and actively listening to the answers. Remember, people love to talk about themselves. By asking open-ended questions that invite them to share their experiences and perspectives, you demonstrate genuine interest and create a deeper connection. And let's be honest, some people really do love to talk about themselves.
Especially, as one of the clips pointed out, women. Asking questions gives you the opportunity to understand their world and makes them feel heard.
Exactly. And that's a crucial aspect of building rapport, creating a space where the other person feels comfortable opening up and sharing.
This is all fascinating, but I have to admit I'm a little worried about using these techniques in a way that feels manipulative. I mean, the last thing I want is to come across as inauthentic or worse, creepy.
That's an important consideration, and it brings us to what we call the ecology of rapport.
Ecology of rapport. Sounds like we're suddenly talking about the environment.
Well, in a way, we are. It's about being mindful of the ethical implications of building rapport.
One of the sources had this pretty extreme example. You wouldn't want to build deep rapport with a psychopath, right?
Right. That's a powerful way to illustrate the point. Deep rapport creates a strong connection, and we need to be mindful of who we're connecting with and why.
So it's not about using these techniques to manipulate people into doing what we want, but rather about building genuine connections based on respect and understanding.
Precisely. And it's about being aware of the context. We don't need to build deep rapport with everyone we meet. Sometimes a friendly connection is all that's needed.
This is really making me rethink how I approach conversations. I've been so focused on finding common ground that I haven't been paying attention to all these other subtle cues.
And that's a common experience. Most people are unaware of the power of nonverbal communication and how much it influences our interactions. But once you become aware of these principles, you can start using them to build stronger and more meaningful connections. That's right. While rapport can be incredibly effective for, building connections, it's important to use it with integrity and good intentions. It's not about manipulating others, but about fostering genuine understanding and respect.
One of the audio clips emphasized the importance of authenticity when building rapport. It's not about simply mimicking behaviors, but rather about being genuinely present and engaged in the interaction.
Absolutely. People can often sense when someone is being insincere, and that can actually damage rapport rather than build it. True connection comes from a place of genuine interest and a willingness to understand the other person's perspective.
So how can we ensure we're using these techniques ethically? It sounds like self-awareness and a clear understanding of our intentions are key.
That's exactly right. Before entering any interaction, take a moment to reflect on your desired outcome. Ask yourself, what kind of connection do I want to create? Are my intentions aligned with the other person's well-being? If the answer to either of those questions is no, it might be best to reconsider your approach.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's say we've checked in with ourselves, our intentions are good, and we're ready to start building rapport. What are some specific techniques we can use, especially when meeting someone new?
Well, we've already talked about the power of matching and mirroring body language and tonality. Those are excellent starting points.
But I still find the idea of mirroring a bit intimidating.
Mhm.
How do I make sure it comes across as natural and not creepy?
That's a valid concern. The key is subtlety. Instead of mimicking every movement, focus on creating a sense of harmony. For example, if they lean forward while talking, you might subtly lean in as well to show engagement. If they speak softly, you could lower your volume slightly to create a sense of intimacy.
So it's about finding that sweet spot where our nonverbal cues complement each other without being overly obvious.
Exactly. It's like a dance where both partners are attuned to each other's rhythm and flow. And remember, you don't have to mirror everything. Start with one or two key elements like posture or breathing rate and see how it feels.
One of the sources mentioned that the person who asks questions controls the conversation. Could you elaborate on that a bit?
This is a fascinating aspect of NLP. By asking questions, you guide the direction of the interaction and give the other person the opportunity to share their thoughts and experiences. And as we know, people love to talk about themselves.
Especially some people, as we've established. So asking questions allows us to tap into that natural desire to share and create a space where the other person feels heard and understood.
Precisely. And it's important to ask the right kind of questions. Open-ended questions which can't be answered with a simple yes or no are particularly effective.
Can you give me an example?
Instead of asking, "Do you like your job?" which can lead to a dead-end conversation, you could ask, "What do you find most rewarding about your work?" That invites them to share more of their thoughts and feelings and opens up avenues for deeper exploration.
That's a great example. It's not just about gathering information, but about creating a space for genuine sharing and connection.
Right, and remember, active listening is just as important as asking the right questions. It's not enough to simply nod and say, uh-huh. True active listening involves paying attention to not only the words, but also the nonverbal cues, the tone of voice, the facial expressions, the body language. It's about being fully present and engaged in the conversation.
So it's not just about techniques, but about cultivating a genuine curiosity and interest in the other person.
Absolutely. Techniques can be helpful, but they're simply tools. The real magic happens when we combine those tools with authenticity, empathy, and a genuine desire to connect.
This is all making me realize how much I've been missing in my conversations. I've been so focused on what I want to say that I haven't been truly listening to what the other person is communicating.
That's a common experience. We often get caught up in our own heads and forget to be present in the moment. But the good news is, with practice, we can all become better listeners and more attuned to the subtle nuances of communication.
So welcome back. We've been exploring the fascinating world of NLP and rapport building. You mentioned some advanced techniques before the break. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Well, one technique that stands out is called anchoring. Imagine being able to instantly access a feeling of confidence or calm whenever you need it.
Wait, is this like Pavlov's dogs? Like, are we conditioning ourselves?
Yeah, it's similar in that we're creating an association, but in this case, it's a conscious and deliberate process. Anchoring involves linking a specific emotion or state of mind with a particular trigger, such as a touch or a word.
So I could say, anchor a feeling of confidence to touching my ring finger. Then whenever I'm feeling nervous, I just touch my ring finger and boom, instant confidence.
Exactly. It might sound a bit strange, but it's incredibly effective. Our minds are wired to create associations, and anchoring simply leverages that natural ability to our advantage.
But how do you actually create an anchor? Is it like some mystical ritual?
No, not at all. It's a fairly simple process, but it requires a bit of focus and intention. First, you need to vividly recall a time when you felt the desired emotion very strongly.
So if I want to anchor confidence, I think back to a time when I felt incredibly confident, like when I nailed that big presentation at work.
That's perfect. As you're reliving that experience, fully immerse yourself in the feeling of confidence. Notice the sensations in your body, the thoughts running through your mind, the overall state of being.
Got it. Fully immersed in confidence. Okay, what's next?
While you're in that peak state, choose a specific touch or word to act as the anchor. It could be anything.
Yeah.
Touching your ring finger, squeezing your earlobe, saying a specific word silently to yourself.
Okay, so while I'm feeling super confident, I touch my ring finger and hold that feeling for a few moments.
Exactly. Repeat this process several times, always associating the touch with the feeling of confidence. With repetition, the anchor becomes stronger, creating a neural pathway in your brain that links the trigger to the desired state.
So later on, when I'm about to give another presentation, I'm feeling nervous, I can just touch my ring finger, and that feeling of confidence will come flooding back.
That's it. It's like having a secret weapon for managing your emotions.
Wow, this is incredible. It's like having a mental remote control for your feelings. I imagine there are ethical considerations here, just like with the other rapport building techniques we talked about.
You're absolutely right. Anchoring, like any powerful tool, can be misused. It's essential to use it ethically and responsibly, always with the intention of enhancing your well-being and the well-being of others.
So no anchoring someone into doing something against their will.
Definitely not. That would be a form of manipulation, and it goes against the principles of NLP, which emphasize respect, integrity, and empowerment.
Okay, good to know. Any other advanced NLP techniques we should explore?
Another powerful technique is called reframing. Think of it as a mental jujitsu move. It's about shifting your perspective on a situation to create a more positive or empowering interpretation.
So it's like turning that proverbial lemon into lemonade.
Exactly. Reframing allows you to find the hidden opportunities or benefits in a seemingly negative situation. For example, let's say you get passed over for a promotion at work. It's easy to feel disappointed and discouraged. But what if you reframed it as an opportunity to reassess your goals, develop new skills, or even explore different career paths?
Or if someone cuts you off in traffic, instead of getting angry, you could reframe it as them having a genuine emergency.
That's a great example. Reframing doesn't mean denying reality or pretending that bad things don't happen. It's about choosing a more empowering perspective that allows you to learn, grow, and move forward.
This is all so fascinating. But I have to ask, how do we actually apply these techniques in everyday conversations?
Well, as with the other NLP techniques we've discussed, awareness is key. Pay attention to the other person's body language, tonality, and words. Are they speaking quickly and excitedly? Then match their energy level. Are they speaking softly and thoughtfully? Then adjust your pace and volume accordingly.
So it's all about creating that sense of harmony and connection through subtle adjustments to our communication style.
Exactly. And remember, building rapport isn't just about mimicking the other person. It's about finding that sweet spot where your communication styles mesh and create a natural flow.
This deep dive has been a revelation. I feel like I've been given a key to unlock a whole new level of connection with others.
And it's a journey that continues long after this deep dive. The more you practice these techniques, the more natural they will become and the more fulfilling your interactions will be.
I'm already noticing a difference in how I approach conversations. I'm more present, more attuned to the subtle cues, and I'm genuinely enjoying the process of connecting with others on a deeper level.
That's fantastic to hear. Remember, rapport is a skill, not a talent. Anyone can learn to build more meaningful connections by being present, observant, and responsive to the people they interact with.
That's a great point to end on. Rapport is not some mystical ability. It's a skill we can all cultivate, and it's a skill that will enrich our lives in countless ways.
Absolutely. It opens doors to deeper understanding, stronger relationships, and a more fulfilling human experience.
Well said. As we wrap up this deep dive, we'll leave you with this. Think about someone you admire, someone who seems to effortlessly connect with others. What do you observe about their communication style? What techniques do they use? Could you try adopting some of their approaches? And with that, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of NLP and rapport building. We hope you've enjoyed the journey and that you'll take these insights with you into your everyday interactions. Until next time, keep exploring, keep connecting, and keep learning.